Good morning, all of you. Good morning, principals, PGTs, TGTs, and all the model school students and all the viewers who are watching this session. This is Muhammad Riazuddin, Principal Telangana Model School from Jarasangam Mandal, Sangareddy District. Now we have the webinar session from the second year Commerce and Accountancy. The topic is internal and international trade. In the today's session, we are going to learn about the internal trade first. Then in the later classes, we will learn about international trade. In the today's session, we are here that different types of wholesale and retail trade, and about the special economic zones and distribution chains, etc. So the session is going to be handled by V. Premlata, PGT Commerce from Telangana Model School, Bollaram, Jinnaram Mandal, and Sangareddy District. So please, students, watch the session carefully and note down the important points. And this is very important topic based on the IPE also. So without wasting time, I invite Premlata Madam to handle the session. Now over to Premlata Madam. Madam, please.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, start it.
Hello.
Madam, you are audible? Please start.
Okay. A wonderful morning to all the principals, teachers, students, and all the viewers. I am V. Premlata, PGT Commerce from Telangana Model School, Bollaram, Jinnaram. The subject coordinator for second year Commerce and Accounts is Mr. Muhammad Riazuddin, sir, Principal, Telangana Model School, Jarasangam. Today I am here to discuss with you people on the topic internal trade from commerce subject from chapter 7 from unit 4. It is chapter 7 and unit 4. In this we will be discussing about mainly about trade, children. What are the learning outcomes? By the end of this session, you will be in a position to tell the meaning of trade, types of trade, features of internal trade, types of retail trade, distribution chain, special economic zones, CES in Telangana state. Trading activity is the business, is the backbone of business activity, and without it, there will be no meaning in discussing about business. It is because it enables the exchange of goods between the producers and consumers. If the exchange is affected between the producers and consumers within the boundaries of a country, such trade is called as internal trade. If the exchange takes place between people residing in different countries, such trade is known as international trade. Now, what is meaning of trade? Just now we understood trading activity is the backbone of business activity. If there is no trade, then there is no point in discussing about business. Okay, so whatever the producers are producing, if it should reach the market or it should reach the end buyer or the consumer, what it happens in trade. So if we are not discussing about trade, then there is no concept of business also. So what do you mean by trade? Trade means buying and selling of goods and services for money or money's worth. It involves exchange or transfer of goods and services. Either there will be an exchange of goods or there will be exchange of services. In the beginning, when there is no money, we all know how people used to do business. We also call it as barter system, no, exchange of goods. But here you will be exchanging goods and services for money or money's worth. Some value should be there, some monetary value should be there when you are exchanging either goods or services you are taking or purchasing, you have to pay back some monetary value for that. Okay, so trade means buying and selling of goods and services for money or money's worth. What are the different types of trade? Depending upon the geographical limits within which trade is carried on, the trade is categorized into home trade, and that is internal trade, and foreign trade, that is external trade. Okay, and one more thing we need to remember, that trade is meant for the satisfaction of human wants. Yes or no? Why we are doing trade? To satisfy human wants. Okay, it is also conducted not only to earn profit but also to provide pre and post sale service. Okay, so when we do trade, when we are purchasing something, pre and post both services we will be getting from the producer. Okay, now what are the different types of trade? We have home trade and foreign trade. Depending upon the geographical limits within which trade is carried on, the trade is categorized into home trade and foreign trade. Again, home trade is divided into wholesale trade and retail trade, and foreign trade is divided into import trade, export trade, and entry port trade. Okay, so home trade is again divided into wholesale trade and retail trade. Foreign trade is again divided into import trade, export trade, and entry port trade. Now, what is internal or home or domestic trade? Domestic trade is conducted within the political and geographical boundaries of a particular country. It can take place at local or regional or national level. Okay, it is what when we say it is a domestic trade or home trade or internal trade, the trade which is conducted within the political and geographical boundaries of a particular country. It can take place at local or regional or national level. We call it as domestic trade. For example, the exchange of goods taking place between the buyers and sellers at Hyderabad, Mumbai, Chennai, or any other place is called as home trade. It is because the exchange is taking place within the boundaries of the country, that is within the boundaries of India. So any trade which happens within the boundaries of the country, between any place, it can be a local, regional or national level, within the boundaries of the country, any trade is taking place, we call it as home trade or domestic trade or internal trade. Again, internal trade is already we discussed, is divided into wholesale trade and retail trade. Now, what is wholesale trade? Wholesale trade involves purchasing goods in large quantities from producers and selling in smaller lots to retailers for resale to ultimate consumers. Wholesaler is the connecting link between the manufacturer and the retailer. Okay. What is wholesale trade? It involves purchasing of goods in large quantities from producers and selling in smaller lots to retailers for resale to ultimate consumers. Wholesaler is the connecting link between the manufacturer and the retailer. Okay. Here, the services of the wholesaler assume a lot of prominence and importance to both producer as well as retailer, because he is a link between the producer and the retailer. Okay. So from producer, the wholesaler will sell the goods to the retailer in small quantities. For example, he will be purchasing from producer in bulk quantities and he will be selling to retailer in small quantities. In ultimately, the retailer will be selling the goods to the consumer. Here you can see the example. This is the cloth manufacturing. The producer or the manufacturer is producing cloth. From here, the wholesale will be purchasing the cloth and he will be selling to the retailer. From retailer, ultimately the consumer will be purchasing the goods. That is, here human wants are satisfied. Whatever the wants, human wants are there, that will be satisfied with this trade. Now, the wholesaler, as he is the link between the manufacturer and the retailer, there are few services which are rendered, okay, by the wholesaler. Services to the manufacturer as well as services to the retailer. Now, what are the services given by manufacturer, wholesaler to manufacturer? Here, enabling large scale production. The manufacturer is in a position to enable large scale production. It is possible only because of wholesaler. Wholesaler purchases goods from manufacturer. That is the reason he is able to produce large number of goods. Now, sharing transfer of risk. So business itself means uncertainty. There is a risk. So the risk is transferred from the wholesaler to the from the manufacturer to the wholesaler also. So there is sharing of transfer of risk. Now, financial assistance in the form of advance payments. Financial assistance, whenever the goods are produced by the manufacturer, the wholesaler will be giving some advance payments in advance. Okay, so that it will be very easy for manufacturer to produce. After producing, if you want to, after selling, producing and selling and getting money, it takes a lot of time. So in meantime, what he will do, he will take advance payment. So it will be a financial support for the manufacturer. Now removing the place barrier. The person who is manufacturing goods is at one particular place, but the goods will be sold at different places because the wholesaler can take it. So removing the place barrier. So the place barrier also can be removed. Advice regarding the marketing conditions. The manufacturer may not be knowing the conditions, market conditions, but the wholesaler can give the conditions, can tell the market conditions, what are the taste, what are the taste of the consumers. So the manufacturer can get that information from the wholesaler. Facilitating continuous production. Because of the wholesaler, the manufacturer is in a position to produce the goods continuously, discharging the distribution function and thereby allowing the manufacturer to concentrate on production. Okay, discharging the distribution function and thereby allowing the manufacturer to concentrate on production. So here the distribution work is done by the manufacturer, by the wholesaler. So the manufacturer is at ease. So he can only concentrate on producing the goods. Rather than on distribution, he will not concentrate. Okay, reducing the burden of storing the goods in whole warehouse. So if the manufacturer does not have the consumer or the wholesalers to purchase that goods, then where all that goods, he will keep all that goods in the warehouse. So reducing the burden of storing. So if the manufacturer after producing, if the wholesaler can take that goods, then that burden of storing the goods in the warehouse is also reduced to the manufacturer. So these are the services of wholesaler to manufacturer. Now we will see the services of wholesaler to retailer. So he is a link between the manufacturer and the retailer. Now what are the services rendered by the wholesaler to retailer? Between the manufacturer and the retailer. So what are the services rendered by wholesaler to the retailer? Making the goods available on time, lending marketing support, extending credit facilities. He will even the retailer can get on credit the goods from the wholesaler. So extending credit facilities, sharing of specialized knowledge. He can also share his specialized knowledge with the retailer, risk bearing and risk sharing. So the risk is also shared between the wholesaler and the retailer. Okay, these are the services rendered by the wholesaler to the retailer. retail trade. Retailing means cutting again. For example, a wholesale trader X involved in the distribution of toothpaste may sell 10 boxes of toothpaste consisting of 10 units each, and each unit weighing 200 grams to a retailer. Y. Then Y would sell them to the consumer as per their requirement. Here, one should understand that X, the wholesaler, sells the commodities in bulk quantities to the retailer, and Y is one such retailer who sells the commodities to the consumers in very small quantities. The essence of the discussion is that retailing, that is cutting. Yes, wholesaler will be purchasing in bulk, but when he is selling to the retailer, he will be selling in small quantities. Okay. So here retailing involves two steps: buying goods from the wholesaler, selling the goods in very small quantities to the consumers for their personal consumption or use. Okay. So from wholesaler, the goods are purchased by the retailer in small quantities, and in retailer in return sells the goods to the consumers to satisfy his human wants. For example, the wholesale clothing here, the retailer purchases the cloth, then he will be selling it to the consumer. Okay. Now, even the retailer has services to manufacturer and wholesaler. So what are the services of retailer? Services of retailer to manufacturer and wholesaler: preparing a ready market for goods, providing useful information to the market researchers and the producer. Okay, as there are retailers, for producers the market is ready. Okay, and they give complete information regarding the market to the wholesalers, in turn to the producers. Risk bearing and risk sharing, they share the risk with the wholesalers as well as the manufacturers. Distribution of goods to different segments of the market and at different places. Okay, as there are retailers, the goods are distributed to different segments of the market at different places. Okay, so these are the services of the retailer to manufacturer and wholesaler. And we'll see the services of the retailer to consumers or customers. Quick and timely supply of goods, making wide variety of goods available. As there are retailers, they have a variety of goods available. If they are going to one retail shop, you will be getting all goods at one particular place only. If you are taking wholesale shops may be for particular goods, different wholesale shops they may have. But when it comes to retail shop, you will be getting wide variety of goods, and supply is also timely supply you will be having. So these are the services rendered by the retailer to the consumer: expert guidance to the customers, face-to-face interaction with the consumers and demonstration of the product. The producer may be producing, but the person who is dealing with the consumer is the retailer. So he will have personal interaction with the customers, and he will know the market, and he can know the taste of the consumers. Accordingly, he can guide the wholesalers and the manufacturers. Okay, after sales service. From retail shop only you will be getting after sales services also. Home delivery. You will get home delivery from retail shop. Supply of goods in convenient lots or quantities. Convenient location. Mainly retail shops will be at our convenience only, near to our localities. Convenient places, to our convenient places. Extending credit facilities. Even retail shops give credit facilities to the consumers or customers. If they have that good relations, the customers can get goods on credit from the retailers. So these are the services rendered by the retailers to the consumers. So we have discussed about internal trade. Trade is divided into two types. One is internal trade and external trade. In internal trade, we discussed about wholesale trade. In wholesale trade, what are the services rendered by wholesaler to manufacturer and services rendered by wholesaler to retailer. Then we have seen retail trade. In retail trade, what is retail trade and what services rendered by the retailer to wholesaler and manufacturer and services rendered to consumers. We discussed till now. Now, second part, that is external trade. What do you mean by external trade? External trade, also known as foreign trade or international trade, refers to buying and selling between traders of two or more countries. Whenever goods are purchased or sold between two or more countries, then we call it as external trade. Internal trade, what we discussed, the business happens only within the boundaries of the country. Within the boundaries of the country, if trade happens, we call it as internal trade. If it happens outside the boundaries of the country, then we call it as external trade. For example, if Mr. X, who is a trader from Warangal, sells chili powder to Mr. Y, a customer or consumer for Maldives. Okay, X is the exporter and Y is the importer. Here X, who is selling the goods, will become the exporter and the person who is purchasing will become the importer. So Y is the importer, and exchange of goods between them is called as foreign trade, and the exchange of goods between them is called as foreign trade. So external trade again can be further divided into export trade, import trade and entry port trade. Okay, so any trade happening between outside the boundaries of the country or between traders of two or more countries, we call it as external trade. So external trade further divided into export trade, import trade and entry port trade. Now what do you mean by export trade? When a trader hailing from a particular country, usually called home country, sells his goods to a trader or a customer living in another country. Okay, a trader hailing from a particular country, usually called his home country, sells his goods to a trader or a customer living in another country. It is called as export trade. For example, a trader from India may sell his goods to a customer in America. Then it is called as export trade. Here, who is the exporter? The seller will be the exporter. And who will be the importer here? The buyer will be the importer. So, if a trader from India sells his goods to a customer who is living in America, then we call it as an export trade. Okay, export trade. Next, import trade. Import trade, when a trader operating his trade in home country obtains or purchases goods from a trader located in another country, it is called as import trade. Okay, so when we purchase goods from another country, we call it as import trade. That is importing. We are getting, we are purchasing. So it is called as import trade. For example, a trader from India may purchase goods from a trader from America. Then we call here the buyer who is in India is called as an importer, and the person who is selling in America, he will become exporter. If we are selling, we become exporter. If we are purchasing, we become importer. Okay, so what do you mean by import trade? Whenever a trader operating his trade in the home country obtains or purchases goods from a trader located in another country, it is called as import trade. Okay, next, entry port trade. Very important. Maximum this every year you will be getting for 2 marks in your exam. Entry, what is define entry port trade? What is entry port trade? Okay, for 2 marks you will be getting. So what is entry port trade? When goods are imported from one country and later re-exported after effecting some process or without such processing, it is called as entry port trade. In short, it is a re-export of imported goods. See, what is we have understood what is internal trade, imports and exports. What is imports? What is exports? So what is entry port trade here? First, we will be importing some goods. you'll further do some process to that goods, or without processing that goods. Again, if you export that goods to some other country, then we call it as entry port trade. Okay, that is re-export of imported goods. After importing, you will be doing some process changes, then again you export to some other country, then it is called as entry port trade. For example, an Indian trader purchases some raw material from a Sri Lankan trader. So Indian trader is purchasing some raw material from a Sri Lankan trader, then converts the raw material into finished goods. After getting that raw material, he is making it into a finished good, and then gets the finished re-export to British trader. He is purchasing something from Sri Lanka, making it into a final product, then again he is exporting to British. Then here the Indian trader is involved in entry port trade. Okay, here the Indian trader is involved in entry port trade. So he is importing, making some changes, then exporting. That is entry port trade. So in international trade, you have three types: exports, imports, and entry port trade. Now, what are the features of internal trade? Internal trade has the following features, that is, the selling and buying of goods takes place within the boundaries of the same country. First main point, what is it? Selling and buying of goods take place within the boundaries of the same country. So anything within the boundary of the country, any trade happens, we call it as a internal trade. The home country in the domestic currency. Okay, so this buying and selling happens in the home country in the domestic currency. You will not use any other currency. Only in the domestic currency, the whole trade takes place. Okay, only a few formalities are required to be completed by the trader. So in domestic trade, only few formalities need to be completed. The features of product are well known to the customers. As it is home trade, even the customers are well versed with the product, and they even know the features of the product. It becomes very easy for them. Okay, the features of product are well known to the customers. Risk is more because of changes in demand from widely spread localized domestic markets. Okay, so already we know business itself has so many risks and uncertainties. Okay, so changes when a demand for a product changes, how it changes, we cannot know in beforehand. So risk is more because of changes in demand from widely spread localized domestic markets. The influence of political, legal, social, cultural, and economic environment of the country is less when compared with the foreign trade. Okay, when you are talking about domestic trade, definitely you will be having influence, political influence, legal, social, cultural, and even economic environment of country also plays a very important role. Okay, the goods are manufactured according to the requirements of the domestic consumers, and no specifications are received from the buyers. Okay, for physical flow of goods from manufacturing point to the consumer's point, only domestic transportation system is used. Okay, so whatever domestic transport is there in the country, the same transport system will be used for transferring goods or moving goods from one particular place to other, that is from the manufacturer place to the ultimate consumer. The domestic transportation system is only used in domestic trade. Now, types of retail trade. Now we have discussed about wholesale trade, retail trade. In retail trade, what are the different types of trade we have? Types of retail trade. Itinerant retailers. In that we have hawkers and peddlers, periodic itinerants, street stalls, cheap jacks, and fixed shop retailers. Here you have small scale fixed shop retailers and large scale fixed shop retailers. When it comes to small scale fixed shop retailers, what are the different types of stores you have? It is general stores, single line stores, specialty stores, street shops, second-hand goods shop, seconds shop. In large scale fixed shop, what we have? Departmental stores, multiple shops, mail order retail trade, and consumer cooperative stores. Okay, so in this retail trade, now we will discuss about each one in detail. First, we will discuss about itinerant retailers, whom we call these itinerant retailers are those retailers who do not have a fixed place for sale of goods. These people, they don't have fixed place. That means they don't sit at one particular place and sell the goods. Okay. First type of itinerant retailer is hawkers and peddlers who move. These itinerants move from place to place with a view to search their customers. They go to the customers. They go in search of the customers. They don't sit at one particular place and sell the products or goods. They move from one particular place to other particular place in search of the customers. So they are called as hawkers and peddlers. Okay. So the main features of hawkers and peddlers are they sell low cost products. So the people who are moving from one particular place to other particular place, either they carry the goods or their on their shoulders or cycles or some cart, something. Okay, they sell low cost products. Mainly they sell low cost products. They usually sell unbranded products, uh, local made products which are not branded. Such type of products are sold by them. The goods are made available at the doorsteps of the customers by the hawkers and peddlers. So they come in search of the customers. They go to door sales also they do. So we call them as hawkers and peddlers. So who are these itinerant retailers? Are those who do not have fixed place for sale of goods. So first type in itinerant retailer is hawkers and peddlers. See, they will be moving from one particular place to other particular place. Next type of itinerant seller is periodic itinerants. Okay. The periodic market traders deal with regular products and products which suit certain occasions. Okay. In local language, it is called as Santa or a weekly market, where these periodic itinerants, you will see them weekly once, where when there is any Santa or weekly market, they will be selling their products in that particular places. So they are called as periodic itinerants. The features of this periodic itinerants is they usually sell their products in different markets on a weekly basis. If there is a Monday market, they will go to Monday market. Tuesday market at some other place, they go to Tuesday market. Wednesday market, Thursday market. Wherever there is a market, in the different marketplaces, they will be selling the products. So on weekly basis, they will be selling the products in different markets. They deal with low priced products such as vegetables, toys, bangles, etc. So they also deal with low priced products such as vegetables, which you see in weekly markets, that is in Santa. They also set up shops to sell products to suit certain occasions also. For example, any festival is there, then you in the festival occasion, anything is there. In that market, definitely you will find all the products related to that particular occasion in Santa. So they are called as periodic itinerants. Next, you have street stalls. Street traders display their products on pavements, on street corners of different localities in urban areas. Especially in urban areas, street corners you will be seeing like chaat bandar or some other shops at the corners. They will be usually on the footpaths. They will be selling this products. Okay. The features, the following are the features of street stalls or street traders. They usually operate their business near public places such as railway stations, street corners, and so on. Outside the railway stations, also we see street stalls, even bus stands. Outside the bus stands, you will be seeing many street stalls.
they deal in a variety of low cost items and articles such as posters, raincoats, and products which are meant for day-to-day consumption. So when you go near to the railway stations, bus stands, you find so many street stalls. Okay. So not only that, they even the corner shops what we have in our localities, like pani puri shops or chaat shops, all also come under street stalls only. Okay. The another type of itinerant retailer is cheap jacks. So whom we call as cheap jacks, they operate their business from small hired shops for a specified period. They keep moving from place to place. Okay. Unlike hawkers and peddlers, they don't move from place to place, but they hire a small shops for a specified period. And if they think that their business is not doing well, they will start moving to other particular place. Okay. The features of cheap jacks is they carry out their trade in small rented shops. The moment it is felt that the trade is not going on well at a particular place, they shift to another place. They deal in low cost items. Maximum itinerant sellers all deal with low cost items only. Next we have fixed shop retailers. Okay. Itinerant retailers, we have seen 4 types of itinerant retailers. Next we have fixed shop retailers. Fixed shop retailers are who have a fixed place for sale of goods. They have a fixed place. Unlike itinerant sellers, they don't move from one place to another. They have fixed place for sale of goods. They are further classified into small scale fixed retail shops and large scale fixed retail shops. Small scale fixed retail shop, when we say maybe their capital invested is very small. In a large scale fixed retail shops, the capital invested will be more huge. Okay. So small scale fixed retail shops, the small scale fixed retailer operate on small scale or with small investment. The investment will be very small. Mainly general stores. First type of small scale fixed retail shop is general stores. They usually small shops and establishments located in our residential areas. These general stores, mainly they are in our residential areas. They usually sell essential commodities. They usually sell essential commodities. The following are the features of general stores. They deal in a large variety of consumer goods. If you go to a general store at one particular place, you will be getting all the consumer goods with different varieties. All varieties you will be having in this consumer goods. They sell goods for cash and also on credit basis. If you are very much familiar, if the seller is very much familiar with the consumer, he will be selling goods even on credit basis also. If not, he will be selling on cash basis. They provide home delivery services to their customers. So general stores, they even give home delivery services to the customers. So they are general stores with small scale fixed retail shop. They are small scale fixed retail shop. Next we have single line stores. Single line stores, these retailers deal with a single online of products such as vegetables, bakery products, hosiery, footwear, stationery, plastic goods, greeting cards, etc. Okay, single line stores. If if you take only stationery, these shops will be having only stationery products. If you go for a bakery, they have only bakery products in their shops. If you go for a vegetable shop, they will be having only vegetables. If you are going for a footwear shop, only footwear, all varieties of footwear styles you will be finding in that particular shop. So they will be dealing with only single type of products. So we call them as single line stores. The features of this single line stores is they deal in only one product line. Only one product line they take up. If they are taking footwear, only footwear, hosiery, only hosiery. If it is stationery, only stationery products you will be having. If it is plastic goods, only they will be having plastic goods in their shops. One can find variety of goods in a particular line. You can find variety of goods in that particular line. Variety of goods can be found in the single line stores. For example, stationery shop, see, you can find all items related to stationery. If it is a bakery shop, all items related to different varieties related to bakery, you will be finding in this particular shop. Then you have specialty stores. So a specialty store deals in a particular type of product. The following are the special features of the specialty store. They are specialized in selling one type of product only. They are specialized in selling one type of product only. They maintain all brands of that particular product. For example, a retail selling bread may sell bread manufactured by different brands such as Modern, Britannica, Spencer's, and Heritage, etc. Okay, any line of product if they take, they sell all specialized items and all branded items you can see in this specialized stores. Okay, for example, if you see here shoes, different brand shoes you can find here, only single line item, but they are specialized stores, only specialized for selling shoes here with all types of brands. So here specialty stores. Next we have street shops. These shops are also called as street stalls. These are called street stalls because these types of retailers display their goods on tables or under the tents. Okay, you can find street stalls if you go to main markets. You have different types of street shops you can find in the markets. Okay, so these shops are established in limited space. They are established in limited space. They are sold under tents or outside, putting some special designed stands or tables. They put their items on that and then sell in the streets. Okay, for all this, their investment is very low. Okay, the shops are established in limited space. They display their goods on specially designed stands or tables. Then we have second hand goods shop. Okay, they deal, or the second hand goods shops deal in used articles or second hand goods such as old furniture, old books. The following are the features of second hand goods shop. Here you will be finding all the second hand used books. These retailers deal in used or second hand goods. The goods are priced very low comparatively because already these are used books. You will be getting these books for low price. This type of shops mainly for books, because books, purchasing so many books, it becomes very costly. 1 year you read the books, afterwards you sell them, again you go purchase second hand books, again you read, so the cost becomes less. Okay, so second hand goods shop. Even furniture also we see many shops where the second hand goods are sold. Now seconds shop, what do you mean by second shop then? So they deal in defective goods. The second shops, there is a difference between second hand goods shop and second shop. While a second hand goods shop deals in used goods, second shop deal in defective goods. There is a difference between second hand goods shop and second shop. Second hand goods shop deals with used goods, but second shops deals with defective goods. Okay, they deal in defective goods. Okay, the second hand goods are sold at discounted rate. As they are defective, the goods are sold at discounted rate. Then you have large scale fixed retail shops. We have seen in retail shops, again small scale fixed retail shops and large scale fixed retail shops. They are established with very heavy investment. Okay, they deal in large bulk of goods. Okay, the following are the features of large scale retail shops. They need huge sums of establishment of the shops. They have relatively larger establishment in comparison to small scale retail shops. Okay, when you compare with the small scale retail shops, they are very huge. Their investment is also very, very huge. There are different types of large scale retailers such as departmental stores, multiple shops or chain stores, mail order business or mail order trade, consumer cooperative stores, supermarkets and franchise. Okay, so now we will discuss about some of the large scale fixed retail shops. One is departmental store. Departmental stores, as the name suggests, is a large scale retail establishment having a number of departments falling under the same roof. Each department sells and specializes in a particular or one line of product. The departmental stores have the following advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so here when we say departmental stores, it is a large scale retail establishment having a number of departments. You have different sections. You have clothing section, you have electronic goods section, you have furniture section, you have consumable goods section, different. Everything you will be getting at one particular place only. Okay, so that is the reason investment in this departmental stores is very, very high. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of departmental stores? Advantages: it is established in a central location. Mainly these departmental stores are in the center of the city. You find maximum in the center of the city. It is established in central location. It sells different types of products under a single roof. If you go to a departmental store at one place, you can purchase different commodities at one particular go. Okay, so it sells different types of products under a single roof. It facilitates economies of large scale distribution. Okay, see, as there is a large scale of distribution, huge purchase, so the seller can sell the goods in for less price, for discounted prices. Okay, so it facilitates economies of large scale. So whenever we are purchasing in bulk, definitely you will getting the product for lesser rate. If you are getting for lesser rate, you can sell it for lesser rate. So that will be the benefit of purchasing or having these departmental stores. Now it helps in eliminating middlemen. So there will be no middleman. Directly you can purchase from the seller. Now, what are the disadvantages of having this departmental stores? The operating cost of departmental stores are very high. Operating costs are really very high because they have to hire so many people. For every department, they have to hire so many people. They have to maintain computers, everything. So operating cost for this departmental stores is very, very high. Difficult for the departments to draw personal attention. As in retail, small scale business, as the seller will have a direct contact with the customers. But here it is difficult to have a personal attention. Okay, the prices are usually high due to the large establishment cost and large working capital requirements. So when you go for departmental stores, the cost of the product may be high, as the large working capital requirements, and even they have operation cost also is very, very high in this departmental stores. So that is also one of the disadvantage. It requires huge capital. Huge capital is required to establish this departmental stores. So it is a disadvantage. Not reachable for middle segment residents as they are located in far off posh localities. So these departmental stores are not meant for everybody. Only few people have access to these departmental stores. So this is also one of the disadvantage. Next we have multiple shops. Now what is this multiple shops? Multiple shops are identical shops which sell standard products in different parts of a particular place or city or town. Same, they have different openings or shops. Okay, for example, Bombay Ding or some of the examples of multiple shops. The multiple shops have the following advantages and disadvantages. So they are identical shops which sell standardized products in different parts of a particular place, city or town. Okay, now we see this frequently, no? If a particular shop is there, only not at one particular place, in different areas they have their branch. Okay, different. You take any shop, for example, you take RS Brothers, Chandana Brothers, different shops. Okay, D-Mart, not at one particular place, different places they have their branches. So they are multiple shops or identical shops. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of these multiple shops? Advantages: they are in the reach of one and all, any place, because each locality has its own identical shop. So it is reach for all. They sell standardized products. Products are branded and they sell standard products. customers repose lot of confidence in this establishment because of the standard brand itself. Customers will be having confidence on the seller. They help in eliminating middlemen. This multiple shops also help in eliminating the middlemen. They help in division of work and specialization. Now, what are the disadvantages of having this multiple shops? The operating costs are very high because they have to set up investment for setting up of each and every branch. They sell limited variety of products. Only limited variety of products are sold in their shops. They lack storage facilities and they require huge capital. Even they also need huge capital to set up this business. Next, we have mail order retail trade. Okay, it may be difficult for every trader to contact every customer in person. Okay, one of the best option available to the trader to reach the customer with a minimal nominal amount is mail order or retail trade. As the name suggests, the trader sends a mail to the prospective buyer regarding the product. If the customer is satisfied, he will place the order by mail. Okay, he will be placing the order by mail only because it is very difficult every customer to contact in person. No? So a mail is sent to each and every customer. So if the customer is satisfied with the product after seeing the mail, seeing the pictures, he will be placing an order by mail only. So that is the reason, as the name suggests, we call it as mail order retail trade. Okay. The seller, on the receipt of the required sum from the buyer, shall send the product by mail or post. He will be sending the product by post. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of having this mail order retail business? One advantages, the capital required is relatively less. Truly speaking, very less capital. There is convenience both in buying and selling. Even sitting at home, the buyer can purchase goods. The goods are reasonably priced. Operating costs are also very less because there is no need to maintain anything. Middlemen are also eliminated in this type of business also. Then what are the disadvantages? It is very difficult to convince the buyer because many people simply seeing the picture, we cannot purchase the goods, no? Because we need to get satisfied with the product also. Until and unless we don't see with our naked eye, we cannot purchase a product. So it is becomes very difficult to convince the buyer to purchase the product. They lack efficient management. They lack storage facility. E-tailing, which is a form of e-commerce, overtook mail order retail business. Next, we have consumer cooperative store. A consumer cooperative store is defined as a voluntary association of persons based on cooperative principles for buying in common and selling in common. For buying in common and selling in common, consumer cooperative store has the following advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so when we are talking about a consumer cooperative store, is a voluntary association, okay, of persons based on cooperative principles of buying in common and selling in common. So mainly they go for this cooperative for purchasing in bulk and for the members only, selling for low prices. Okay, so consumer cooperative stores. What are the advantages and disadvantages? We'll see. Advantage of having this consumer cooperative stores: the capital required is relatively less. They need very less capital. There is convenience both in buying and selling because the members, they purchase in bulk and they sell for reasonable or less price only. The goods are reasonably priced. They are not overpriced. Operating costs are also less. There are economies of large scale distribution because they purchase in bulk. Definitely they are going to get the economies of large scale distribution. Cooperative societies enjoy certain benefits and incentives from the government also. Okay, even cooperative societies have some benefits and incentives even from the government. Now, what are the disadvantages of this cooperative societies? Capital is limited. As a capital, because it is a voluntary association, it is not for mainly for business. Okay, so here the capital is very limited. They lack efficient management. They lack storage facility. So these are the disadvantages of cooperative societies. Now, what we have learned, children, till now? What is the meaning of trade? Types of trade we have discussed. What are the different types of trade? Home trade, that is internal trade, and external trade. Okay, foreign trade. Next, features of internal trade we have discussed, and types of retail trade we have discussed. In types of retail trade, you have itinerant retailers, that is hawkers and peddlers, periodic itinerant, street stalls, and cheap jacks. And in the second type of retail trade, you have fixed shop retailers. One is itinerant retailers, second one is fixed shop retailers. Again, fixed shop retailers, depending upon the investment, is divided into small scale fixed shop retailers and large scale fixed shop retailers. In small scale fixed shop retailers, we discussed about general stores, single line stores, specialty stores, street shops, second hand goods shop, second shop. In large scale retail shops, retail shops, what we discussed about departmental stores, multiple shops, mail order retail trade, consumer cooperative stores, and even we discussed about their advantages and disadvantages of large scale retail shops. The task for the day, children. From this chapter, you will be having long answer type questions like define trade and explain its features, explain the services of wholesaler to manufacturer, explain the services of retailer to manufacturer, and short answer type questions like who are the itinerant retailers. Like when we say long answer type questions, you will be getting for 10 marks. When we say for short answer type questions, you will be getting these questions for 5 marks. What are the itinerant retailers? What are the advantages and disadvantages of consumer cooperatives? And you have very short answer type questions where they are asked for 2 marks. Hawkers and peddlers, cheap jacks, consumer cooperative store, second shop, entry port trade, what is internal trade, external trade, everything. Whatever we discussed from there, anything can be asked for 2 marks or 5 marks or for 10 marks. Usually 5 marks or 2 marks you will be getting. Is it clear, children? I think you people are very much clear with the trade and different types of trades. Stay home, stay safe, children, stay productive, and stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the wonderful session. And thanks to all the viewers for watching this session carefully. And finally, I want to give a small suggestion. The task for the day is very important. It's a very important selective questions based on IPE. So I request all the students to go through and try to make the solution of that questions and for the preparation of IPE. And finally, thanks to one and all. Thank you all.
Thank you.